Hi everyone, it's Michael, and I'm so thrilled to finally repot my new Nelly Isler orchid. I promised you guys a repot video on this, and it's kind of silly that I'm saying finally. I've had it for 4 days, but I have been so eager to go ahead and get it repotted because I am just not meeting the needs of this plant in classic medium. It's drying out so quickly. I have it sitting right next to an ultrasonic humidifier, and it's still drying out really quickly. And Nelly Islers, again, behave a lot like Miltoniopsis. So they want cool and consistent moisture. And that is almost precisely what Semi-Hydroponics is going to offer this plant. Now, I do have a little anxiety because this beautiful plant is in spike and I've never smelled one, I've never seen one in person in bloom. So at the risk of allowing this to bud blast, I am going to repot. But ultimately, as I've discovered time and time again, waiting to repot is just not the best course of action for me personally. I always discovered that there was something looming underneath the surface, or a problem that needed to be treated, or some decaying matter. So I'm just going to go ahead and begin this process. Now let's talk through really quickly what tools I'm using. And believe it or not, Physan 20 does have a role. Don't worry, I'm not using it on the plant. I've actually kind of transitioned to using Physan 20 as a great disinfectant for my workspaces. And that's its almost exclusive function at this time. Again, that may potentially change, but right now I use it to disinfect this entire workspace so I can just work right off of the countertop, which has been really, really helpful. And I also use it to disinfect the containers that I am potting them into. So this has been tremendously helpful in that way. In my green bottle, I have my hydrogen peroxide, and in this bottle, I have my 70% isopropyl alcohol, water, and Blue Dawn dish soap mixture, which is great for disinfecting. Rest of the toolkit, I have a couple produce bags, which I'm going to use to cover the flower spikes to prevent them from being doused with the alcohol solution. And I guess that's pretty much it. Oh, and then I have my clipping tool just in case I need it, sanitizing in 70% isopropyl alcohol. So all that being said, the first step in this process is to just go ahead and soak the orchid for about 10 minutes. Again, this just makes the roots a little bit more malleable, less prone to breakage. So that's how I'm going to start. All right, I've got this little cutie soaking, and I'm going to give it 10 minutes. Okay, Google, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Sure, 10 minutes, and that's starting now.
All right, guys, 10 minutes has passed, so I'm going to go ahead and drain the water and begin the process of removing the old potting medium. So let me just go ahead and grab this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and use this bowl to collect the old potting medium, and I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze the pot gently a couple times. It should pop right out. It seems like it was relatively recently potted. Yep, didn't give me any fight whatsoever. Oh, and there's a centipede. That's why I unpot, you guys. Oh, so stressful. It went running into the medium, but it's in there. Where'd you go? Oh my gosh, don't be on my hand, I'll freak out. Oh my gosh, it's freaking me out. I hate when that happens. You guys, it's here somewhere. Where are you hiding? Where are you? So as I go on this very silly hunt for the centipede, I am going to go ahead and remove the stakes because I just don't want to run the risk of damaging it as I flail about wildly because I'm terrified of insects. I'm not really terrified of insects. I just hate things with that many legs. It's just like, why do you need that many legs? Where are you going even? All right, guys, so I went ahead and I removed most of the old potting medium and never quite found that centipede, so this is a little terrifying to me, but I am going to go ahead and give this root system a quick rinse so I have a better idea of what I'm working with. All right, guys, I went ahead and got everything rinsed off, cleaned out. There was a sphagnum moss plug dead in the center of this plant, but the root system looks relatively good. There is some attrition. Never did quite find that centipede, so that's either down the drain or somewhere in my house, which makes me just want to rip off my skin. So that's a thing. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to clean up and sterilize my workspace, and then I will come back and begin the process of the rest of what I'm going to do. I went ahead and I sterilized my workspace, and believe it or not, I actually don't think I'm going to be using much of the clippers at all. There are some dead roots, but not enough to merit me going to town and hacking everything away. They'll rot out on their own. They will eventually decompose and come through the drainage holes. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. I don't want to overwork the root system. Now I do have a couple of produce bags, and the reason I have those is to go ahead and take these lovely flower spikes and just protect them from the treatments that I am about to execute. So I'm going to wrap it gently around that guy, just right around the flower spike. And I actually probably could have done 2 with 1 bag, but who cares? They're special. They each get their own. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap that like this. All right, so now to start, I'm going to go ahead and take my hydrogen peroxide, and I'm just going to go ahead and give a good, generous spritz. And this is to kill any little critters, like a centipede, for example, that might be hanging out in this plant. All right, so there's one side. Now I'm going to take my rubbing alcohol and dish soap solution, and I'm just going to go ahead and coat the leaves, because also any little critters that are on there, perhaps any aphids or spider mites or anything like that, they're really not going to like this. So go ahead and get that going. All right, now I'm going to give the plant a good flip, and then we will hit the other side as well. Taking care with the flower spikes. All right. All right, now that everything's been treated, I'm going to give it 10 minutes to really take effect. Okay, Google, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes, starting now.
The 10 minutes has passed. I've gone ahead and given everything a nice rinse, and now we're going to begin the process of actually repotting. So this is the container I have selected, and you can see it's pretty tall, and I actually drilled the holes about 1 centimeter higher than I would ordinarily. Usually I aim for around 5 centimeters, but because this is a moisture-loving orchid, I wanted it to have a larger water reservoir to pull from to stay constantly hydrated. So as always, I'm going to go ahead and fill up to just above where the holes are with leca to create the base. All right, so now that I've got that done, I can go ahead and begin the process of actually repotting. So let me just bring this center. I'm gonna take the orchid, and let's see which way I wanna place it. So let's see what the old growths are. These appear to be the old growths, and these appear to be the new ones. So older growths towards the back, and the new growth towards the center. And I know it's a snug little fit, but that's kind of exactly what I was hoping for. I want this to feel like it is being hugged, as I described in picking the right container video, which I will link below. But right about there is where I want it, so it can continue to grow forward. So I'm just gonna hold this steady, like so. Make sure it's in frame. And then I'm gonna go ahead and begin placing the leca. Here she is in all her glory, all potted up and looking snug and happy, and I sure hope that's how she feels. The next step in this process is to just go ahead and flush the entire container with plain distilled water, as opposed to the regular nutrient solution that I would ordinarily do. Now the reason for that is when you treat with an antibacterial like hydrogen peroxide, the roots are stripped of all of the bacteria on the roots, not just the bad bacteria, but also the beneficial bacteria that helps to metabolize nutrient solution. So for the time being, all the way up through about a month, this orchid is going to be extra vulnerable to fertilizer burn, which is why it will only receive distilled water. So you may also notice or hear the fan that I have running in the corner, and this is a newer step that I've added to my repots. One of the oversights I've been making is allowing water to sit after I've gone through the treatment process, where I rinse everything or whatever it is that I'm doing. I end up getting water into high-risk areas like a crown or a flower spike. So now I've added this step to just kind of ensure that if there is any water where it shouldn't be, that the fan helps it kind of dry out as necessary. So I'm gonna let that fan run for about 30 more minutes and call this repot done. Thank you guys so much for watching and for choosing to spend your time with me. If you have any questions, concerns, insights, please go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. I will, of course, give you an update on this orchid. This is number 35 in my collection, and you will see it in the upcoming October update. And boy, oh boy, I hope it sure blooms for me, because I would love to share these glorious flowers with you. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, guys. Bye.